What's up, guys? Here is some more useful League of Legends information for you all. Have you ever wondered how much time you actually have after the bar reaches the end on the match found screen? Well, the answer is just over 3 seconds. Still, you're not going to want to wait too long because you can actually get penalized if you queue up and don't accept enough times. You'll start off by getting this warning first though. Similarly, if you've ever wondered how much time you have to ban or choose a champion in champ select after the timer hits 0, the answer is actually 4 seconds. That's surprisingly a decent amount of time they give you to panic pick. Have you ever wanted to resize your client? Well, it's actually really easy. All you have to do is hold down control and use the up and down keys to change it. I mean, you could go in the settings too, but this is just so much easier. Did you know you can make real money from playing League of Legends? Which ultimately sounds ridiculous, but it's actually true. All you have to do is use Buff and you're good to go. Buff, who by the way is partnered by Overwolf, a world-leading gaming app platform, is a free program that rewards you for playing not just League of Legends, but any of these other games as well. Literally all you have to do is download it and have it sit in the background while you're playing, and during that time you'll earn buff points which you can spend on some pretty sick rewards. I mean, check some of these out. You can get RP, you can get gaming hardware, this is literally the mouse I'm using, and there's a bunch of other cool stuff, all just for playing video games. Buff gets its money offering subscriptions and then uses that money to offer you these insane rewards. You can also complete some extra challenges to earn even more buff points. It has zero effect on your gameplay, and right now there is even a promotion going on only for March where if you download Buff using my link, you'll earn 2 times the amount of starting points. Instead of 30, you'll get 60. So don't miss this opportunity and make sure to download Buff using my link below. And thank you so much, Buff, for continuing to support this channel. Alright, now back to the video. So I feel like most people know how to ping items from the scoreboard menu. However, have you ever wondered how some people ping how much gold is needed to buy an item? Well, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is open up the shop, hold down Alt, and then click on the item. Now you can finally explain to your team why you've been sitting in the fountain for the last 5 minutes. If you're finding yourself dead all of the time, you could at least make the most of it and buy a support item while you wait to help earn yourself a little extra gold per second. Now, it's definitely not a lot of gold, but if you got nothing better to do, you might as well. Especially if you got that fat death timer. Did you know you can technically play and move around League without actually clicking? If you just hold down your right click button, your champion will continue to follow your cursor around. Your champion will even attack whatever you're hovering over, as well as do abilities still. To be honest, the only situation this is actually useful is if you're getting wristband and are trying to limit the amount of clicks you do. Otherwise, it's not really recommended to do this as a normal routine. Have you ever been watching a fight while you're dead or trying to click on a spot to go to after you revive only for the camera to snap right back to the fountain where you spawn? Well, you can actually turn that off in the settings, which is super helpful because that thing is so freaking annoying. There's really no reason that you have to watch yourself respawn. Alright, so this is a pretty interesting one. So if you somehow end up getting every single skin in the game, you can send in a ticket to Riot, and in return, they'll give you a choice in picking one of these discontinued skins to keep. We got Rusted Blitzcrank, Pax Sivir, Pax Jax, Pax Twisted Fate, Earthwick, Riot Singed, and Championship Ribbon. Of course, all of that will only cost you thousands of dollars, but you know, if you're already there, I guess you might as well. Yo guys, if you're enjoying, please consider poking that sub button. It seriously does help me out a ton. And of course, here's your puppy. Here's a list of everything that you can use Unleashed Teleport on. Surprisingly enough, a lot of these things I feel like people don't know. Starting off, we got wards, obviously. Then we have Jarvan's Flag, Thresh's Lantern, Zack's Blobs, which can actually save him from dying, Rek'Sai's Tunnels, Alawi's Tentacles, all the pets, including Daisy, which isn't listed on here for some reason, and all destructible traps. Do you ever find it annoying that you have to open up these side tabs in the shop to find the right items? Well, luckily for us, you can actually pin them so they stay out and expanded. That way, the next time you go into the shop, you can quickly grab whatever you need without trying to find everything. Additionally, there's also this swap button here that allows you to put mythic items at the top of your shop. It took me way too long to figure that out. If you're an ADC, you should consider starting Longsword and 3 potions instead of Doran's Blade. Now, I don't want to get into too many details on this because Doublelift already made a video which I will link in the description, but one of the main advantages of doing this is that you're already closer to building your mythic item. On top of that, you now have 3 potions for a ton of sustain in lane instead of just 1.
2 extra potions on top of that allow you to stay in lane and stabilize, which you can avoid all-ins because you're back at full HP. You can avoid situations where you'd have to recall and miss a ton of farm. Like it's a bit of an equalizer for a mistake. It allows you to recover from a big mistake.
Did you know that Vladimir can actually still heal from his ultimate even if he's in Zhonya's? It's always nice when you finally get him to low health only for him to Zhonya's and then come back with full HP. Woohoo! Similarly, some champions like Zoe can still finish casting their abilities even though they're golden. If you cast her Q for instance and then Zhonya's, she can still cast it again. Speaking of Zoe, did you know that if you pick up an item or spell that you already have available, like Everfrost for example, it will always use the one in the W first instead of the actual one? This is especially handy for summoner spells with long cooldowns like Flash, because you already know that it will use your W flash before it uses your actual flash, even if you hit F. Did you know that you can use some summoner spells while inside Kane's ultimate, like Smite for example? This makes for a pretty good tool for stealing objectives. Did you know that the League of Legends health bar can give you a lot more information than you may think? Here's a health bar key that kind of shows what every icon means. For example, wings still means their passive is up, or they still have GA, which is some pretty useful information to have. I'm sure a lot of you have had the unfortunate experience of misclicking on the minimap during a fight before. Well, did you actually know you can change it in the settings so the minimap clicks don't move your champion? This is definitely not for everyone because a lot of people do use their minimap to move around, but it is there if you want it. A lot of people don't know that League has a stop movement command. This can really come in handy when you're farming or going for those last hits. By default, it's on the S key, but it can obviously be changed in the settings. Having your abilities quick casted is almost always better because you can get them off much faster. However, sometimes it's nice to have those indicators to see how long your abilities are and if they'll actually hit. A really nice compromise that a lot of people do is make it so if you cast your abilities normally, no indicator will appear. But if you hold shift and then cast your abilities, you'll be able to see the indicator and the range. All of this can be done in the settings, but it's something I personally find really helpful and something a surprising amount of people don't know. Did you know that Kindred's ultimate can save Rift Herald from dying, which can ultimately help you get an extra charge off? Hextech Gates can be a pretty fun way to outplay your opponents with Saya. Just throw some feathers down, ult, take the portal, and then use your E and give them some very unexpected damage. If you're a PvE player, you'd know that you can get 3000 RP from just playing a game, and the fastest way to do that is to queue up with TFT in the 1v0 mode. After loading in, you can just exit and you're all set. It's probably the easiest 3000 RP you'll ever make. Did you know if you level up an ability while it's mid-air, it will still upgrade the damage by the time it hits your target? In other words, you should always upgrade your abilities as quickly as possible because it may not be too late to get off some extra damage. Additionally, there's also some champions like Victor, for example, that's actually better to upgrade mid-flight because you'll pay lower mana costs for an upgraded ability. Upgrading Victor's E here after I cast it only costs 70 mana, but it gives me the damage for a level 2 E. The same goes if I continue to upgrade it to level 3 or 4. Okay, so obviously it 100% depends on what champion you're playing, but in general, these are the highest win rate jungle paths for both sides. On blue side, it goes red buff, Krugs, Raptors, Wolves, blue buff, Gromp, and then Scuttle. And on the red side, it goes blue buff, Gromp, Wolves, Raptors, red buff, Krugs, and then Scuttle. Are you struggling to decide what champion is best for you? Well, this guy made a personality quiz to help choose a champion that best suits you. It's basically like a career path test, but for League of Legends. This is honestly pretty helpful for those who are new to League and have no idea what they're doing, or for those who have been playing for a while and are just looking to mix things up. The questions range from all I want in a game is a fiesta of death and carnage to I'd rather be Gandalf or Aragorn. Either way, it's definitely worth checking out, and I'll leave a link in the description. Also, just so you know, apparently the guy who created this ran this test 100,000 times, and the champions that came up the least was Lulu for top, Master Yi for jungle, Seraphine for mid, Karthus for ADC, and Bram for support. So if you get any of those, you're pretty dang special. There's also an entire article written on the process of this whole project, which I'll also include in the description. A lot of the time, it's better to invade through mid lane than it is the river because it gives the other team much less time to react. If you hug the wall, the other team won't have vision on you until the very last second. Of course, this is also assuming they don't see you when you walk into the mid lane. Did you know that you can use Shaco's ultimate to get over walls? Which means you can create some pretty annoying plays since you'll still have your Q up after as well. Speaking of Shaco, did you know his clone also takes up the current stats from when you use his ult, which means if you had something like lethal tempo fully stacked when you used your ult, then your clone will have a fully stacked lethal tempo for its entire duration. You can even see the difference of attack speed here after lethal tempo wears off on the real one. A surprising amount of people don't realize that you get extra movement speed when you're behind a Janna, which means that whenever you're walking back to lane or invading right at the start, everyone should start behind her because you'll get there a lot faster. Early level power spikes are one of the most overlooked things in the game. In order to hit level 2 in mid or top, you need the first wave and 1 melee minion from the second wave. To reach level 3, you need the first 2 waves and then 2 melee minions from the third wave. 14 minions total. For bot lane, you need the first wave and 3 melee minions from the second wave to hit level 2. And for level 3, you need the first 3 waves and then 3 melee minions from the 4th wave, or 22 minions total. Something else to keep in mind is if you manage to take a ward before then, it will take 1 less minion. Did you know you can now invite and join people through Discord for League? You need to be in a lobby, but you can have people ask to join you through your profile. Pretty cool. Did you know that Poppy can use the recall button to cancel her ultimate and get a significantly reduced cooldown? If her ultimate was ever interrupted by someone else, this would happen anyways, but a lot of people don't know that she can interrupt it herself by using the recall button. This is especially useful if you realize halfway through your casting that it's not a very good ult anymore. And instead of using it anyways and waiting for the full cooldown, you can have just a fraction of that instead by hitting recall. If you're unsure if you have time to crash a wave into the tower, you can always see where their wave is on the map by looking at your own because minions are mirrored. If your wave is about to reach the top tower, then so is theirs. When playing Skarner and using his ultimate, make sure to turn around at the last second and it will turn them around as well. That way it not only maximizes the distance that they go, but it also makes it so they have to walk around you instead of away from you. Did you know after you reach level 150, you gain a gemstone every 50 levels? So if you're creeping up on that next milestone, you may get a little extra reward on the side. And lastly, if you want to gain LP fast, the best way to do that is to win your games. Anyways, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. A quick shout out to Liga Poro. I got a lot of info from his channel, so make sure to check it out, and I will see you next time. Bye. A massive shout out to my tier 3 patrons, Josh Poo, Stefan, Senzo, Noctac, and James. You guys are amazing, and a huge shout out to my other patrons as well. I seriously can't thank you guys enough. All right, bye.